It's 2 after, and I think we have a quorum, and hopefully people will keep joining, but I think it's time for us to get started.
Mm.
I am Ritesh Shah. I live in pure, sometimes cold Michigan with two beautiful ladies, married to one for 17 years, and then a 10-year-old daughter who acts 16 often. By trade, I'm a Gen AI architect at ServiceNow. Prior to that, I was a Gen AI specialist at Amazon, and I've worked with customers like you all on AI implementations and hope to share some real world experiences here today. Ashish?
Thank you, Ritesh, for the wonderful introduction. My name is Ashish Sethi. Uh, I live very close to Ritesh, not a long distance, Midwest, Windy City, Chicago. And I also have a 10-year-old daughter and who definitely acts like 16 for sure, maybe 18 as well. Able to manage my son who is 6 year old. And I am from the Now and Now team within ServiceNow. For those of you who do not know about Now and Now, we are also known as Customer Zero, which means we use all our products internally, give first-hand feedback to our product teams. We co-design, co-build stuff with them. So when it reaches out to you, our customers, partners, you can get maximum value out of it. Looking forward to our discussion today.
And hey everyone, I'm Tara Fisher. I'm here in sunny California. And I also actually have a teenager. She's 14, going on 22. So that's always fun and exciting. And I work in outbound product management. And what that means is I'm here to build relationships with you and really get in and figure out what you think of our products. If we're headed in the right direction and if you've got any feedback, I am open and always welcome to it. So please jot my name down and send anything my way if you have something to share. Excited to talk to
Awesome.
you today.
Awesome. We're going to share real experiences, but just in case, safe harbor if we have any forward looking roadmap items that we talk about today. This webinar is part of a series that is led by ServiceNow experts that help you deploy products in your instances. So real life experiences are shared. Hope you get some value out of this today and love this. If you want to join future ones, you can scan the QR code for the schedule, or there will be a link in the chat as well. And I promise the last housekeeping slide, hopefully the most important one. We love your questions. This is for you. Please throw as many questions as you can. Use the Q&A in the Zoom panel. And it's good for me to say that I don't have to answer anything. Tara is going to answer all of them for you today.
Yeah, some of the answers might be, let's ask Ritesh. So be ready for that.
We'll do our best to get you the answers today. We'll also have time for Q&A. So we'll have that. If you're like me and nerdy, take screenshots and notes, take it easy. All of this will be recorded, put on the community, so you will have all of it. And then the last thing, a favor, please, please, please. At the end, you will get a survey. We love your feedback. If I sucked, it's an opportunity for you to tell me that so that I get better. But I hope to hear that I did well today. Alrighty, let's set the stage a little bit. So AI agents, a loaded term, confusing, all over, everybody's talking. I'll be honest, I have read multiple white papers, done a ton of hands-on, and I still feel like I don't get it. So if you are in that state of mind, it's perfectly normal. This tech is evolving so fast, we can't humanly keep pace with it. And you are in the right webinar, by the way. So Ashish is going to get us started. He'll demystify AI agents, what they really mean in the ServiceNow world. Not only that, we drink our own champagne, and proudly so. So Ashish will talk about how ServiceNow uses AI agents internally, driving $325 million of annual value. He'll also show you a demo. So he's all set up to do all the fun, cool things to get you excited today. And then I'm going to crush the party, mellow down that excitement, take you to the back of the kitchen, show you some ingredients and recipe. Hope you want to see that. We'll talk about architecture building blocks, some leading practices, and then the most common question I get from all customers, how can you help us, or what do we need to do for a successful implementation? So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I promise we'll keep time for questions and answers today. Just one last thing so we get a pulse of where you are at. You should see a poll. We would like to know where you are at in your AI agent understanding or journey, just so that we can adjust our content today and then, deliver value for you.
There we go.
We'll give it a minute or two.
So while we're waiting for this poll and see the answers coming in, it looks like folks are somewhat familiar with this. Ashish, I'd just like to put a call out to you.
Mhm.
Our very familiar is pretty low. So if we can make sure that we break this down a little bit so it's not super complicated to understand, I think that's kind of the audience that we have right here is it's the shiny new toy and we want to make sure that it's consumable for everybody so we can get more more folks using this. Sooner rather than later. So, uh,
Yeah, we have a good sample set. I'm going to end the poll, and you can see the results, but 50% of you are in between, which is like the perfect audience, perfect content for today. Enough of all the housekeeping and gibberish. I'm going to give it over to Ashish.
Thank you, Ritesh, for setting the context. I think we all mentioned that we'll start with understanding AI agents. Glad to see that people have read something about it, know the theoretical concepts on it, but still trying to learn more. And trust us that we all are learning almost on a daily basis. As Ritesh mentioned, hands-on, read multiple articles, white papers, still see something is missing. I'm not understanding it fully, so we'll try to break it down. But I'll try to take you back to 5, 7, 8 years back. We didn't start with AI yesterday. Oh, Gen AI, let's jump onto AI. ServiceNow as a platform, as a company, has been a believer in AI for years. If you know about, or if you remember, long time back, we had predictive intelligence already existing on the platform. The four aspects of it, classification, clustering, regression, similarity, all of that was playing when it comes to predictive AI. So these are artificial intelligence systems that analyze historical data, identify patterns, forecast future outcomes. It obviously leverages machine learning, statistical modeling, data processing, data collection. The more data you provide, the better prediction, the better outcomes are. Then comes your perception based AI. These are AI systems designed to interpret and understand sensory data, such as your images, audios, and other inputs. This is where your natural language processing, natural language understanding made it easier for computer vision. And that's when your augmented reality, virtual reality, all of them came to life. So this has been also there for a while. Our platform has been a big proponent of natural language understanding through virtual agent, if you realize that, the chatbots and everything. And since last couple of years, we have been riding the generative AI wave. We all have known about Gen AI, Gen AI. Now Assist is our large language model, which is backing up the Gen AI wave. These are obviously, we know that AI systems that create new content, such as text, images, even code, based on the patterns learned from vast set of data. Unlike traditional AI, what makes Gen AI unique is that it can produce original content. So it's trained on vast amount of text, images, data. Based on that, it can generate more content. And since late last year, we have been riding the agentic AI wave. So agentic AI, these are AI systems that can autonomously plan, execute tasks, and adapt to new situations with little to no human intervention. Unlike traditional AI, which primarily responds to inputs passively, agentic AI is much more proactive, goal directed behavior based on reasoning, planning, and adapting as well because it's context aware. And as you can see, by a prediction by Gartner, since last year, 2024, there were 0% routine decisions which were made autonomously by agentic AI that will rise up to 15% in a matter of 4 years. In 2028, it will be 15%. So huge game changer for us. And can anybody predict what next wave of AI is going to be? Right? We all,
iRobot.
yeah. If you believe me, the way I've been studying and being close to this, I think the next wave is always going to be about completely autonomous AI. Right now, it's still human in the loop, still supervised because we still are a bit jittery. Hey, it's going to do the things in the right manner or not. So let's see what the future holds for us.
Let's ground us with some concepts, Ashish, like basics.
Absolutely. I want to do a deeper dive into this and all about this. So 2025 is being termed as the year of AI agents. This is the new frontier, game changer. This is obviously a latest buzzword on the lips of executives of large tech firms and obviously their clients. And I was reading a few facts in an article as well. Amazon increases its productivity and uses 30,000 AI agents to upgrade its 30,000 production applications, saving the e-commerce giant around 260 million globally. Another prediction by fund manager ARK Investments estimates that AI agent will enable 9 trillion, which is 25% of e-commerce sales by 2030 in just a matter of 5 years. So what makes them so powerful and why is everybody talking about them? Few characteristics or traits of agentic AI listed here. Autonomy. It can make decisions and take actions independently. Goal oriented. Instead of specific task focusing on a specific objective, it is understanding and focuses on the larger goal. It has planning and learning capability. It can plan those steps and it can learn. It has a short term memory, long term memory. It can learn as well. It can adapt. It is context aware. It knows about your environment, retains the past experience as well. As such, it can adapt, course correct as well, and it has multiple tools available to its disposal. So these AI agents, they use workflows, flow actions, subflows, and any capability on the platform, they are able to use that. That makes these AI agents much more powerful. And these agents are able to collaborate amongst themselves and get the job accomplished. So all of these traits and characteristics make these agentic AI much more powerful today. And that's why everybody is talking about them.
So, Ashish, let me ask you a question here, because I've actually had this question come up from other customers. If we already jumped on and started leveraging some of the things that ServiceNow offers for Gen AI, which is our Now Assist brand, is that now with AI agents coming into play, is that throwaway work, or can we combine them? Like, can you explain that?
Absolutely. I think this slide should perfectly answer, and that was the intent of putting this slide together. So all
Okay.
the GenAI work, now assess skills, you're talking about NASC, now assess skill kit, you have built custom skills, there is case summarization, incident summarization, all the GenAI capabilities which you have available, all of them will make these AI agents powerful. So all the work which you have done, all the workflows which you have built on the platform will absolutely be used by these AI agents to make your business even run faster and much more efficient. So let me take an approach on how to explain these workflows. So this slide always reminds me of my 10-year-old daughter asking me, "Hey Dad, what does ServiceNow do?" And my wife always nudges me, "Hey, you are in the platform for like 11 years, master architect. Why can't you explain it to a 10-year-old daughter?" And I always explain these technical concepts to her, and she says, "I still don't get it." And then I steal one of the lines which our CEO Bill McDermott says, "We make the work flow." That's why we are a workflow company. So workflow is exactly that. So they are predictable, rule-based processes. If this happens, then do this. If else, do this. So workflows will still be in existence. Anything which is static in nature, deterministic in outcome, will obviously be done by workflows. When it comes to speed, much more reliability, workflows are your go-to aspects. And then obviously they do repetitive tasks, and that's why they are much more cost effective. When it comes to AI agents, they are real-time reasoning. So there's a multi-step reasoning, and they make decisions on the fly as well, based on the input and the context. They are much more adaptive and non-deterministic, which means they have the Boolean logic as well as the fuzzy logic, with a bit of autonomy built in it. I'll give you an example. Let's say if I have to make a reservation at a restaurant, I will use my GenAI capability. I'll say I want to use this uh, um, capability to make reservation at 8 p.m. For a dinner for two. And then it's going to go look into the menu of the restaurant, make the reservation, and provide the details to me. And if I ask an AI agent to do that, hey, I need to have some dinner plans to be made at 8 p.m. today. It's going to know my location. So the way it's going to act is that it's going to check my location. It's going to check all the restaurants in the vicinity, and then it's going to check the restaurants based on their availability, which ones are available, open at 8 p.m., and so on and so forth. It's going to also check the ratings, the feedback which the restaurants have received. It's going to consider my dietary restrictions. If I'm lactose intolerant, I'm vegan, and then it's going to look at the menus. It's going to make the reservation, and then it's going to give me the confirmation number. So you see how AI agent was different from GenAI. It knew the context, it knew where I was, it also knew that what are my dietary restrictions and what is the open close time of those restaurants. That's how they are more context aware and they can course correct based on the situation as well. And that's why they have more and more autonomy as well as reasoning. And they are very powerful when it comes to complex, large tasks. And you will see some of that in examples which we throw you and one of the demos as well. Okay, so next topic is around ServiceNow AI agents. What AI agents ServiceNow has to offer? With the March release, we have released multiple AI agents across our workflows. We realize the need of our customers, which can get them started on their agentic AI journey, and that is why you will see a lot of agents getting released with our March G release, Yokohama release. For example, in the IT space, we have generate change request plans, categorize incidents, generate post-incident reviews, and then resolve request as well, which uses three agents at its disposal: next best action recommender, user detail agent, and record handler. Similarly, in the HR space, you will see a tuition reimbursement use case. And then in the platform specific as well, you will see analyze and improve services, investigate IT problems. So multiple of these use cases, which are essentially your business problems, and then multiple agents coming to solve a particular use case as well. And the best part is that if there is anything specific on your platform, just like you have been building applications on the platform, you can use our very own AI Agent Studio and build use cases, which is essentially your business goal, which Ritesh will do a deeper dive into, and then tag multiple AI agents to it. They are very simple. They need natural language, simple set of instructions, and you can build, very quickly these AI agents on our platform. Okay.
Hey, Ashish, are you going to be able to tell us how we're using it here at ServiceNow?
Definitely. So what I've done there is that we have a particular use case regarding software request fulfillment there for you. And then that's how we will go ahead and do. Ritesh, if you can go back to the earlier slide of why our platform is a unique proposition when it comes to these AI agents. So only ServiceNow unites AI agents, the data and workflows on a single platform with a single data model, providing one unified experience to make sure we can leverage AI across the entire enterprise. So ServiceNow AI agents don't just assist, they do actions and take actions on your behalf. Team of AI agents work together to orchestrate end-to-end business processes. And then data, you already have data on the platform already existing there. And then the workflows, the AI workflows, even power this entire thing. So you get that entire unified experience on one platform. So as I was mentioning earlier, all the workflows which you have built, all the data which is already there on the platform, all your resolved incidents, knowledge article, everything will be leveraged by these AI agents to make sure AI is being leveraged in every corner of your business. Okay, so let's look at a particular demo. This is our software request fulfillment use case. I'm sure every company receives hundreds of requests in a month for fulfilling softwares, right? At many a time, user needs these softwares immediately, and then sometimes it takes longer to fulfill these software requests, resulting in DSAT, license keys, other information is missing. There are other resolvers have to wait in case software licenses are not available. And we always ask our teams when you are building these use cases, we have built this particular use case, one of the first one within now within our internally within ServiceNow to faster identify and provision of these softwares, better management and compliance to the software as well, and then overall mean time to repair gets reduced. So when somebody is raising a request, hey, I didn't get the software, or I'm requesting the software, overall time to fulfill those requests or even those incidents related to those requests gets reduced. And this is definitely targeted towards the resolver teams who get those requests firsthand. And you will see in action these five agents: next best action agent, approved software identifier, which checks the approved software in the system, license availability check agent, and then AD group license provisioning agent, and then the notification agent. All these agents get triggered either simultaneously or one by one to make sure they are able to fulfill this entire software request. And then there is one more agent which I have not mentioned on this one. There is a purchase request as well. In case licenses are not available, it can raise a purchase request as well. Let's dive into the demo. Okay, so what you see here is a playground view in which you can test as well as see your actual interaction happening with the AI agent and the fulfiller. I'll put in a task. This is a software request which I have received. Let's go ahead and execute this. On the left-hand side, you will see the Now Assist panel through which AI agents interact with the resolver group if I am the resolver. And on the right-hand side, you will see the execution of the AI agents as well happening in tandem. You can see the approved software and the software request next best action agent get triggered. On the right-hand side, you will see that this is the request for Lucid Chart software. It realizes it's a standard software, so no approvals required there at all. It presents the plan that I'll check for the license availability. I'll add the user to the AD group, notify the user, and if need be, I'll request a purchase request as well. Yes, looks good to me. It's a human in the loop giving an approval. Okay, license for Lucid Charts are available. It checks and says licenses are available, and then it's going to go ahead and add Yog Richter to the AD group for Lucid Chart. And it says I've added the user successfully to the AD group. So no verification. It's doing the job and verifying things for you on the fly. Notification has also gone out to Yog Richter that the Lucid Chart license has been provisioned for you. And that's it. That's pretty much it. So all these AI agents get together, make sure the license check is happening. If a standard software is there or not, that is getting verified. If licenses are not available, then in that case, they're gonna make sure they can reclaim the licenses as well. Different set of agents gonna get triggered. If it's not able to reclaim the license, it can even raise a purchase request. So I, as a resolver, just need to focus on my screen, make sure that I'm able to give those instructions. All these agents can independently execute and do these things in an autonomous manner as well. But I want to make sure that I, as a human being in loop and giving the approval while the AI agent is doing all the activities in the backend. So this is what we have seen in the last year or so by executing these multiple AI agents. What we have seen is that AI has been a game changer. We have around 200 plus use cases in production today. Measurement is absolutely critical, and we focus on the value and our AI-enabled productivity booster as well. So we measured by business units or by persona, and you can see in the figure that we have been able to drive 325 million plus the figure which Ritesh quoted within ServiceNow. 70%, 76% of our IT support requests are self-serviced without the intervention of a human being. And similarly, on the CRM side, 72% of our customer support requests are also resolved or self-serviced without needing any live help. In the finance supply chain, we have 25% productivity increase, and in our developer space as well. We are a platform company. We have seen 20% developer productivity gains when these AI agents are available to our developers. 3 million hours freed up in our HR space when multiple AI agents help our HR agents as well. And then in the security and risk side, we have seen 53% productivity with our server patch management process by applying patches, updates, and fixes to improve security, performance, and stability on our platform. So definitely a game changer, and this is what we have been seeing in ServiceNow till date. I'll pass it on to Ritesh.
Awesome. So, hey, Ritesh, as you get ready to discuss with us some of the underlying architecture, I've got a couple questions that have come up, talking about really peeling back the onion and seeing what the underlying framework is, like if you can explicitly touch on that. And then we also have a question regarding orchestration in a typical multi-cloud setup. So agents created on Snow, AWS, Salesforce, are we going to permit that sort of integration? So if you could touch on that stuff while you're getting into all these great architecture pieces, that would be fabulous.
Yeah, I'll try my best. Some of my favorite questions. So let's just get started. So I'm going to talk about the building blocks. And, I like to give you a metaphor so that you sink in concepts. Use case. Let's start with the use case. Ashish touched it, but think about, something like you want to build your new home, Okay, that's like your business problem you're trying to solve, your goal or objective at the highest level. Um, there's something that triggered it. Maybe your growing family, changing locations for a job, or maybe you just won a lottery or inheritance. I wish I win that lottery someday. And then you have the orchestrator, which is like your general contractor. He's like the high level guy who's planning how to build your house. He's not getting into the minutiae, he's just at the high level, orchestrating all the things for you. And then the general contractor has an army of agents who actually do the work. Think of your electricians, your plumbers, your painters, and each one of them have a set of tools. So drill machines and wrenches and all kinds of fancy tools that make their lives easy. So hope that metaphor helped crystallize these concepts. Let's talk about what they really mean in ServiceNow terms. So let's start with orchestrator. So orchestrator uses our GPT-4o, which is on ServiceNow managed Azure servers. If you're wondering, token size 128K. Right now, you cannot change the LLM. It's an out-of-the-box agent that we ship for you. But in future, there will be a roadmap feature, hopefully, for you to have a choice on LLMs. Again, keep in mind this is a high-level guy, not into the minutia, just doing your initial planning and orchestrating. The next component is AI agents. We ship a lot of these AI agents out of the box to you, or you can create your own. So somebody was asking, can we build our own agents? Yes, you can absolutely build your agents in the AI Agent Studio. These agents, they use React framework or React strategy, I should say. And what that means is, at the end of the day, LLMs are predicting the next token or word, but React forces them to reason and then act. The way it does it is, for building your house, it will first have to have a thought based on the instructions you've given. So thought would be, oh, I need to first survey the land, do some measurements. Based on that thought, it will take an action using the tools that it has. So it has some ways to measure and survey the land. So it will take that action. It will learn from it. It'll have an observation. And then it'll have the next thought, and then the next action, and then a tool to implement that action, and then observation. So it keeps doing this thought, action, observation until it ultimately solves your problem that is building a house. In real life, there is no such agent. I hope there will be one day. A little fun fact about the orchestrator, at home, my daughter's trying to compete with my wife to be the orchestrator. I'm not in the league. I get to be the AI agent. Luckily, here they don't have emotions. And the reason I bring that up is orchestrator, although it comes out of the box, you have control over instructions. So you can make them behave the way you want with the instructions you give them. And of course, AI agents, you do the same. Um, Ashish talked about a lot of tools. So if you are wondering, what happens to the Now Assist custom skills you've built or you've implemented Now Assist, all of those are available as tools for these agents to work. Your scripts, if you love writing scripts like me, you have scripts. You can do record operations, and we even have a web search option. I had a customer ask me, can you just crawl the web and give some information? Yes, we have limited capability for that as well.
And what about what kind of prerequisites are there? Are there certain things that we need to have ready in our environment to get started with this?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
talk.
there we go. Never mind.
Okay. So yeah, you need to be on Yokohama patch 1, or we've backported agents to XP7. I had a customer, they have an HR department and IT, they both use ServiceNow. The HR leader was asking me, should I fight this battle with the IT? I would say absolutely yes. This is one battle you should fight with your IT. Licensing, please talk to your account executives or sales team, but you definitely need Now Assist for ITSM, HRSD, or one of those. And you have to have an AI Agents Store app. Role. So even if you're an admin, you still need to give yourself SNAI admin role. The reason is not only least privilege access, but not every admin on your team would be ready to change the mindset from deterministic to probabilistic. And if you want to have like a limited set of team as you're growing your org and building skills, you need to have this role to create agents. And then the last thing, I think AI search is needed. It is enabled by default, I think, in most instances. And then you also need to have Now Assist panel, which is like the Now Assist interface for your fulfillers. Okay, let me just get into the tool. So once you have all of those prereqs and you log into your instance, you can type AI agent, and that will take you to this overview page in the studio. So it has like all the use cases and agents that we talked about, and it gives you some helpful steps on what you need to create and things like that. So again, just remember high level use case, the business problem, and then it can have one or more agents, and then each agent can have one or more tools. So let me just show you one of these use cases. So I just randomly picked one use case in my instance. This is to generate a plan for an incident or case or whatever it is. At the top, you have the name, description, and instructions. So this is where you have control on how you program that orchestrator, if you will. A couple best practices, always be in second person, keep things simple. So here you see it has only one task to analyze that incident number or whatever you tell it. Limited to 2 to 5. There is not a magic number, but keep it simple. Don't have like hundreds or tens of steps. All that minutia can be in the agents. And keep in mind, the goal of these instructions here is to help the orchestrator to determine the next AI agent or the first AI agent to pick. And then we let the AI agent do all the detailed work. Okay. Next, I want to show you, this is what that AI agent, so there was a next best action agent here, and this is what the AI agent looks like. So again, you have the name and description. You have an important role thing called as role. This is your spot to clarify what the agent can do and cannot do. You have to make sure that these things are non-overlapping, otherwise the LLM can get confused. And then here, these days, these instructions are, you are telling the agent what to do. So you're actually giving it step by step. I feel like these days we all code. Our jobs are not going away. We just code in English as opposed to JavaScript and ServiceNow. And then this agent has a lot of tools that you're all likely familiar with. So here you see some flow actions to so if you want to analyze the incident, the first step it will need to do is get the details of the incident. So you have a flow action for that. And then you want to look at similar incidents, so you can look at what was done to solve those incidents. So you have this app tool over here. And then, you can always add a ton of other tools that I talked about. And unfortunately, I don't have time to go through that, but I would love to do that someday. And then you have this powerful observability. So here we were talking about, it gives you all the details. So first, the orchestrator decomposes the task into one single thing, and it identifies that agent. So it picked the next best action, and then the next best action was triggered. And then, as I was explaining, it uses React. So thought, action, and then it uses that tool to get the incident details, and so on. I want to answer if you're wondering about integrating with snowflakes and the data lakes and stuff like that, yes, today you have you can write scripts for what you want to do. We have powerful workflow fabric that is there, which can help you with zero copy with some of the sources. So there are tons of ways that we can do. For that specific question from Shanu, I think I'm going to, take a follow up on that and give you a very detailed explanation on how we do it. But at a high level, yes, at this time, you can use scripts to do any kind of integrations or flow actions. You have integration hub spokes. All of those can be used. But very specifically, can you bring your agent from outside? I will get back to you on that later. Okay. One other important thing is security. So the trust building mechanisms like offensiveness, we have simple toggle boxes here. Prompt injection, it's another trust building mechanism. So you have those capabilities here that you can leverage. And then the last thing I want to show you is we have powerful analytics. Again, this is only a starting point. It's only going to get better. Today it tells you, like, it slices and dices by tools. So you can have all of these tools, for example. The execution mode. So each tool, you can choose whether you want to run it autonomously or supervised. My general recommendation is if you're doing a write operation, try to start with supervised. If you're doing a read or a lookup, I think you can do autonomous at this point. And again, these things are very experimental, so you try things and learn from it and then make changes. But yeah, you have tons of analytics here. Tara, are there any specific questions that I should be taking at this point, or?
We do have one that came in that says, does these agents allow to configure tools that use third-party services like any ML model for classification hosted on like GCP or anything like that?
So Orchestrator today, you don't have an option to choose your LLM. It uses GPT-4o, as I said. The AI agents, if you use custom skills, we have options for you to select different LLMs outside of ServiceNow for custom skills, and you can choose if that option is available. You should be able to do that through custom skills. But I think in future, things are going to evolve. Ashish, you want to add something?
Yeah, just you rightly said, Ritesh. And then there are APIs available to connect to external systems, which has been, one of the power things on our platform. So APIs are available if you want to connect to external systems as well. And
Okay,
your agents can use those APIs.
awesome.
And I believe now Ritesh, you're going to touch on some of the best, yeah, awesome best practices. Make sure
Yeah.
we don't forget
Um,
about that.
I haven't felt so time constrained ever in my life, but I'm going to try my
You're
best.
good. I think you're good. We don't have any open questions right now, so you continue to roll through.
Okay. So one of the most important things as you get into your journey for AI agents is keep in mind this is going to involve a lot of experimentation. It is more of an art than a science. So even if you have like out of the box agents, I totally expect you'll have to test them, make sure they work, make some tweaks, make it your own. A couple of things that we've learned along the way. Simplicity is genius. So we talked about use case. It can have one or more agents, and agents can have one or more tools. Minimize that. Like, don't get overexcited and build a lot of them and confuse the LLM. Less is more in this case. Prompt engineering. So customers ask me, what controls do we have? You have two powerful things. One is the instructions that you give at the use case level and the agent level, and also at the tool level. And then you have a ton of powerful tools like scripts and all of the things we talked about that make things deterministic. But here's the thing, I've had customers where they get all, there are too many agents, and sometimes it gets confusing. Like they have overlapping roles, and that confuses the LLM. So I've used a litmus test. I call my daughter and ask her to read the instructions, and if she can figure it out at age 10, then I think the LLM would be able to. In real life, have your business users do instructions. If you are a techie, we try to put tech jargons and things that may not really always be the right for LLM. And that's where even ServiceNow is headed, right? We at one day we hope that a business analyst would be able to build an agent, and that doesn't mean our jobs go away. We just do more meaningful things on the business side. Cross agent collab. So, I forgot to call out two things in my earlier conversation. So, yes, these agents don't have emotions, so they are not naturally aware that, oh, I should talk to Tara if I don't know an answer to a question. No, you have to tell it through prompting, right? You have to be very explicit, and you can pass like all the information across agents, like even it recognizes ServiceNow tables and fields, if you will, but they all go through LLM, so there is a chance that they could be modified. So you have to be very explicit and specific on how you want these agents to collaborate across one another and pass information. The way they do that is they have short-term memory. So throughout the use case and your session in the transaction, there is a short-term memory that is used to pass all of this information between different agents. There is another out-of-the-box hidden agent. We call it the communicator agent that we just ship out of the box. Its sole purpose in life is to manage all the communication with your users in the Now Assist panel or in future in the virtual agent for end users. We all have come across some engineers who are super deep. They do really well on engineering, but they may not have the bedside mannerisms to talk to. We may not feel comfortable putting them in front of customers. And these AI agents are a little bit like that. They just do one little thing. So we have a communicator agent to talk to the end user. And then the last thing, one of my most important things, security and responsible AI. So now as this Guardian, I kind of briefly showed you some trust building capabilities there. And this is again a shared responsibility model. ServiceNow does, we do our part for security and responsible AI. There's lots of information online and in our model cards, but you have an important responsibility to pay, even if this is a SaaS word, right? A couple examples that I can give you. Most agents always need some kind of RAG. And when you have RAG and AI search to look in your knowledge articles, you want to make sure you have good user criteria to restrict articles that a user should have access to. If you have that, agents will respect the security. If you don't have that, they're just going to throw open any article to anybody, even if they're not authorized to or they should not have seen. If you write scripts, be very intentional about when to use glide record secure versus glide record because sometimes security does matter and you want to make sure ACLs are checked. So those are some of the controls that you have from a security perspective. I also want to talk about AI governance. So a lot of our customers have NIST or they have some kind of compliance framework. These days, most customers, even the government, has an AI center of excellence. They are trying to build them, if not. So make sure you're aligning with them. And responsible AI does not have to come all the way at the end just before you go to production. It is really throughout the life cycle, right from when you identify a use case, you're designing it, and even testing it. Right? It's throughout the journey. There is a nice OWASP top 10 threats. So it's an open foundation for security of applications. They have listed top 10 threats and mitigation strategies. And, in my past lives, I have facilitated threat modeling and mitigation strategies, and we would be really, happy to do that even for ServiceNow customers. But what I'm trying to say is break your silos, get the security involved up front, make sure you're thinking through the governance and responsible AI pieces up front throughout your journey. Okay, any
Um, yeah,
questions?
there's a couple questions. Um, does scripting, because you mentioned scripting, allow to use Python or to import Python libraries?
That's a good one. So right now, anything you can do in your ServiceNow background, like business, well, like what you could do in a business rule, any backend scripts, you can do the same things today.
Okay. And then in the example, the orchestrator prompt provided a step-by-step guide on how to proceed. Does the orchestrator at this point also support looping or recurring logic?
Love that question. So think of orchestrator as a high level guy whose job is just to make sure it decomposes the task and identifies the agent that will do the job. If you have if else conditions or any of those programming constructs, they do well in an AI agent instructions. And you want to have a separate section for those to clearly call that out. Looping or that one is an interesting one. If you really have a looping situation, I would say maybe you need a tool and maybe you need a script to loop through your records or do something so that it is a little more deterministic. I have seen, and again, with my experience, I could be wrong, but I have seen with AI agents, if else is okay. Anything complex would confuse them. So if you have a situation like that, like I had a customer where we wanted to kind of loop through and have a recurring logic, and most of the times you're looping through some kind of records in ServiceNow or externally, I would go the script path or use some tool so that it is a little more deterministic. Hope that answered.
And then I did want to call out, so Annette, I noticed that you've raised your hand. Unfortunately, we're in a webinar, so we're not able to take you off mute, but there is a Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen that you should be able to ask or post your question in, and then we'll be able to answer that either live or someone can answer your question in the Q&A panel.
Yeah, or Annette, I can follow up in our next meeting. She's one of my customers. I can talk to her.
Oh,
And if you don't get
great.
your question
That
answers,
worked out perfectly.
yep,
Awesome.
awesome.
Right now we have no open questions. If anyone has any
Okay,
questions.
I have one more thing that I want to cover. So this is I work with a lot of customers like you, and I get, okay, this is all exciting stuff, yes, demos, fun stuff, architecture, but what are the, critical keys for success? And I might give you a secret, a top secret, maybe. No, not really. You may not learn anything new, but I think the point that I'm going to make, what I've seen is even if they're so obvious, I've seen so many customers where this, at least one of this is a miss. And, especially when the projects go sideways, it is one of these three things that have gone a little bit sideways. So let's get started. Uh, Business alignment. So the very first thing, even, internally that Ashish talked about, we are very intentional about picking a right use case. You need to make sure that it moves the needle for the business. You have an executive sponsor. You're thinking through the adoption. It should not just be a science experiment for somebody. Yes, I'm a techie. I love experiments. I'm not opposed to that. I hope you got a little excited today to experiment one of these. But make sure you identify meaningful use cases that move the needle for your business.
And in fact, internally, it goes through an architecture review, leadership review. Then only teams are allowed to build. POCs you can do. There's no limit to that. But when it comes to actually building it and tracking the measuring the value of it, then definitely business alignment is of utmost importance.
And at no problem if you did that. I would love your questions otherwise as well. Foundation. So again, to the point, like, if you're like me, roll your sleeves, let's get back and let's build because I kind of showed you a couple of screens and I'm sure you have tons of questions and you want to see it yourself. Yes, please go do that. But when you're thinking about production scale, there are three foundational things that need to happen: data, security, and governance. What I mean by data is most use cases need some kind of knowledge. So if you're trying to use knowledge articles in ServiceNow, they have to be a certain quality and quantity. Like think about you're trying to create a resolution plan for incident. If you don't have similar incidents or knowledge articles to solve that problem, no matter how smart or the LLM is, it's not going to give you the outcomes that you expect. So make sure you spend time on the fundamental data, and it need not only be ServiceNow. It even if you have data outside, like most customers have data lakes in Snowflake, Databricks, AWS, Google, whatever, wherever you are, involve your enterprise architects, think through the data architecture and governance around it, and make sure you spend time on that. The other one is security. So I talked about simple things like user criteria, etc. But security of data is also important because especially if you have an end customer facing use case, you don't want somebody else's case or data uh, through this agent exposed, right? And then the third one is governance. As I told you, right in two things about governance: it has to be throughout the life cycle, right when you identify the use case. So I had a mortgage customer. They were very intentional, like they want to use AI agents everywhere for customer service, but they don't want to use AI agents to make decisions for somebody whether they get a mortgage or not, because it means somebody in America could get a home or not own a home, which is like the American dream. So they were very intentional and thoughtful about which use cases we use AI versus which we still have human in the loop. And the third one, skills. And although I say skills, and I don't want to offend anybody, this is more than technical skills. It is more about mindset. We've all lived in a very deterministic world, especially in ServiceNow, for a long time. And it is hard to switch to probabilistic. I had a real customer, the best admin or ServiceNow developer I could ever find on planet. But the only problem is they were a perfectionist. So they can't live with the probabilistic world of LLMs. Like, oh, 98% accuracy. No, 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 no. How can I get to like the 100% accuracy? And that's just not realistic. And that person could become a blocker for you. So skills, the mindset for AI, very important. The technical skills can be taught, but the mindset is an important one. And what I suggest to most customers is if you have a mixed bag of admins, like every company, and you're still building your AI skill sets and capabilities or COE, I would say start with a partner or even ServiceNow Expert Services. Just augment them till you are building your staff and long-term sustenance plans in your organizations. And again, I'm not trying to sell anything here, but we have impact. If you have Impact Squad, Feel free to engage them. They can help you with a readiness assessment. If you don't have impact, work with your account executive to get ServiceNow Expert Services, which is our professional services, if you will.
Okay.
Tara, I thought you were trying to say something.
Yeah, so I just answered a question typing it, and then the same exact question came in. So let's talk about this for a second. Folks are getting confused with the difference between Now Assist Skill Kit and AI agents. So what I was explaining was, Now Assist Skill Kit is to create and develop your own skills, especially if you're leveraging an external LLM, not one that we brought to the table for you. And AI agents are this completely different function that we're talking about. But do you want to get into a little bit more technical difference on those?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll take a stab, Ashish, feel free to add. So,
Sure.
the way I think about analysis skills, they are point solutions. So to give you an example, if you have knowledge articles and if you just want to review a bunch of text and give best practice recommendations like a knowledge coach, perfect example for Now Assist Skill Kit. But it just does one little thing, a point solution, right, in a workflow that you have, very predefined. AI agents, open-ended. So you may not always have a prescribed workflow. Like if you have an incident, it could be of any issue, right? You don't know what that incident would look like. And when you have open-ended things like that, that's where you would use AI agents. And keep in mind, AI agents are, they solve open-ended problems and they have tools. So Now Assist could still be one of the tools that you use to support that AI agent, for example.
Perfect example. I think the way I use it in ServiceNow context, like, now as a skill kit or Gen AI capabilities, so to say, if you have surveys in your system, right? You want to get a perception or sentiment on your surveys, you ask Gen AI, summarize all these surveys for me. But on top of that, you want to make sure the one which have the most negative sentiment, that my issue was not resolved at all, completely unhappy with that, then your AI agents will go into that. They can even trigger further responses or further tasks to get responses or inputs from the users as to why they were unhappy. So not only it's analyzing and presenting you the summary, that was the Gen AI part, but it's going to analyze the overall sentiment, which were the most negative ones, and then do take further actions based on that.
That's a good one. So I had a customer giving, using AI agents and lots of other AI for end customer like service, right?
Mhm.
So they had built an AI agent for like for assessing the quality of service that their clients get. And that's a perfect candidate for AI agents because
Yep.
it uses a lot of different things. So you have point surveys from your cases, or you have calls and you have transcripts and you want to get the sentiment from that. Like all of those could be little different agents, but you're trying to solve like an overall bigger problem through AI agents. Now, as a skill kit is still point solution, in my opinion.
Okay, so great. So that actually follows up onto this next question, which it looks like I got a combination of similar. Is the skill that we create using NASC or AI agents, will they be leveraging Now Assist so they kind of working together?
Yeah. So in if the question was like if you want to build a custom skill, you can either use the Now LLM, which is one of our instruction fine-tuned models, or you can choose an LLM of your own, and then you build that custom skill, and then yes, you can plug in as a tool within an AI agent, if that was the question.
Yes, basically, can you leverage your
Yeah,
customs with
yeah.
the AI?
I am actually going on site to one of our customers, and they had the exact same question. So we're going to take the Now Assist skill kit that they build and plug it into the agent that we're going to build in the next 2 days.
And then I think we're at 4 minutes here. I do have another one for does agents have capability for delegation or its capability of orchestrator only to delegate and call agents?
So within a use case, you can have agents, an army of agents, and orchestrator can pass to any of the agents. That's what its job is. So if one agent figures out, oh, I am limited capability, and you should tell it in instructions that you can do X, but you cannot do Y. And when it encounters Y, it will try to go back to orchestrator and say, hey, I need help with Y. Orchestrator will say, okay, either I find another agent who can do Y. If there is no agent, maybe I go back to the user and ask for feedback, right?
That's where
So,
that loop comes into play.
yes.
Correct. And
So
that's what you
delegation could be a human, or delegation could be to another agent that has a different specific task.
correct.
Exactly.
Orchestrator will manage all of that. That's correct.
Awesome. That's actually good for me to understand because I did not know that. All
Love
right.
the questions.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have time for, well, there's one that just popped in, so we'll just start answering them live. Now assist for HRISD listed skills. Can we use other LLMs for these out of the box skills? And I mean, I know the answer to that. Go ahead. You go for it though.
Go for it.
No, if you have LLMs external to our out of the box LLMs we provide, you need to create your own custom skills using Now Assist Skill Kit.
But it's pretty easy. So from a configuration perspective, it's like just clone it and then it's straightforward.
And you
Yeah.
can copy these agents as well. Create a copy of these agents as well. Some of the out of box ones, you can copy them as well.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And just make some tweaks or changes as needed.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. So I think you had a slide to show more resources. Perfect.
Yeah, so I talked about impact and expert services. You have QR codes to get help. Again, not being a salesperson, but knowledge is fun. I have presented at two as a customer, and I hope to be at Knowledge this year as well. So would love to see you all at Knowledge and learn a lot more about AI agents. And the best part about Knowledge is you get to talk to other customers like you, which is what I have enjoyed when I was a customer.
5.5 weeks away.
Yeah, and then the last thing, please don't forget the survey. If we sucked or did not do well, please tell us that so we do better in future webinars. Or if we did well, also appreciate that.
So I do have a question that just came in really quick. I know we're down to 2 minutes, but I want to answer this for everybody. For business alignment, is there an ROI framework you recommend to help the business quantify the value of AI agents? And what I want to say is you purchase ServiceNow to automate your workflows and improve your processes. And so one of the things you want to remember, leveraging AI or not, you still need to figure out what your high level business goals are and what those metrics are going to be to move the needle. Whether or not you're engaging with AI, that needs to be your focus. All your analytics should always, always focus on where you have chinks in your chain or where you're completely inefficient and where you have opportunities for further automation, where you can improve your processes, whether it's leveraging an AI agent, a Now Assist skill is absolutely the direction we want to take you in, but the metrics themselves should not change. Your focus should always be on what your high level business goal is and how you can achieve that with whatever tools that you're using that ServiceNow provides.
And I want to just add our impact squads do really well. So if you have impact squad on your account for you, please engage them. They can get you started with some resources.